So a very strange thing happened on cable news. They're actually starting to cover Senator Bernie Sanders. In fact, MSNBC's Morning Joe has finally admitted that Senator Sanders is now the Democratic frontrunner and that he could beat Donald Trump. Now, I would normally show you a video here, but apparently NBC Universal has been incredibly aggressive in their takedowns of copyrighted content. So I can't actually show you, but I will read the quote here from that show that actually happened, I believe, on Thursday or Friday. Joe Scarborough said, Bernie Sanders almost beat Hillary Clinton against all odds in Iowa last time, then he destroyed her in New Hampshire. They have moved up the California primary in an attempt to possibly help Kamala Harris. Possibly. But you have a situation with Bernie Sanders, and we've seen the money, where the media always underestimates Bernie Sanders. Always. They did in 2016. They have in 2020. So this is actually a stark reminder that we're making the same mistake again in 2020. Holy crap. Here you have establishment Morning Joe saying, you know what? I think we messed up. We as in the media ecosystem, right? MSNBC. Because here we go. We are underestimating Bernie Sanders once again. And see what happened last time? Again, he finished second incredibly strongly behind Hillary Clinton, the most well-known person running in that race. The highest name recognition, the entire establishment, both media complex as well as establishment politicians lining up behind Hillary Clinton. And nonetheless, he made up a 60-point gap in the polls. By the time that, it got around to the New York primary, et cetera, it was a little too late because he had lost, a lot of the southern states where, the black vote was incredibly important. But nonetheless, he made up a lot of ground and challenged Hillary Clinton. So it's it's really interesting to hear this admission from Morning Joe. And see, here's the thing why, right? The reason why. Joe Scarborough is somebody that I don't agree with a lot. He used to be a Republican, now he's an independent, whatever, right? But he's also a member of the establishment. So now he might balk at that and be like, I'm not a member of the establishment. What are you talking about? I had on Donald Trump all the time back in 2016. Yes, please remind us of that. How you were buddy-buddy with Donald Trump. But no, look, he is what Washington watches. Why do you think he's got 3 hours of show every day in the morning? They all tune in to watch him. This is where Washington gets their opinion, right? So now, for him to go, watch out, Bernie Sanders is not coming. Bernie Sanders is already here. Winter is here, right? Now winter is coming. It's here. Uh-oh. And he's here with a gigantic war chest, right? Over 1 million volunteers. You have great polling in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Iowa, a lot of these early bellwether states. He's going all over the country, spreading his message. He's going on Fox News and doing a town hall. None of the other candidates are doing that. And he's doing that because even though he says, look, I know Fox News is a propaganda arm of the Republican Party, but maybe there will be people in that audience that I will be able to reach with my message. Because this is not a message that is specifically made just for Democrats. It's actually made for everybody who is struggling, right? Those of you who are in the middle class, those of you who are in the working class, working poor. So that's who that's who my message is for. It's for the 99%, not the 1%. So look, that's why it's important, right? Now, Bernie Sanders, speaking of the polls, new polls just dropped. In Massachusetts, he's beating Elizabeth Warren in her home state. She's third, Biden is second, and he's at 29%. And in a field where there's over 30 people running, that is amazing. So, now, and of course, the reaction from the establishment is like, oh, whoa. Oh my God. I thought Bernie was going to fizzle out, but it appears that he's actually sticking in the race and he's kicking everyone's ass when it comes to fundraising. Yes, I showed you that video the other day of Jake Tapper grudgingly admitting that Sanders is a front runner, that he's got an incredibly strong likelihood of becoming the Democratic nominee. But now Joe is going to talk about that as well. He's going to talk about his path to victory. Quote, he wins Iowa. He wins New Hampshire. He's got the momentum in California. You tell me who else other than Joe Biden is going to be able to keep pace with this guy. Well, nobody. And Joe Biden has his own issues. Joe Biden, in every single primary, has came into it strong, got a lot of donations from big corporate donors, but then falls apart. His campaign basically implodes. And right now, with all the Me Too allegations, the inappropriate touching, his campaign is imploding even before it starts. So I don't even think he'll be able to keep up with Bernie Sanders. And who does that leave? Mayor Pete Buttigieg? Or Beto O'Rourke? Time will tell, man. Maybe Kamala Harris, who actually, I think she raised somewhere around $12 million. And a lot of it's from small donors. So, look, there's more here. MSNBC analyst Mike Barnicle agreed that Sanders could secure the nomination by March of next year. Now, there's one person on the panel that disagreed. That's Donnie Deutsch, who made the point, oh, no, if you go against Donald Trump, I mean, look, Bernie Sanders, he hasn't been vetted yet, and the Republican Party is going to come out strong because he's a socialist. Well, Joe Scarborough said, actually, I completely disagree. And I disagree because a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump say that they would have voted for Bernie Sanders. Politics is a strange thing. Bobby Kennedy's supporters went to vote for George Wallace. A lot of Trump voters would be more interested in Bernie Sanders than others. A lot of Trump voters would be more interested in Bernie Sanders. So, Now, is that because Bernie Sanders is the champion of white males? You may not believe the message because it's coming from a white male, but no, in reality, just look at the polls, right? Bernie Sanders does better with young people of color than he does with white men. I'm serious. So, now what Scarborough is referring to, I believe, is that he's talking about the Obama-Trump voter. Now, who is that, right? Those are the people that in 2008, 2012 voted for President Barack Obama, right? Hope and change. We're going to be more progressive because, believe it or not, he did say progressive things when he was campaigning, and then, of course, governed as a center-right candidate or center-right president. But a lot of these people were like, okay, I like hope, I like change. I want things to be different than George W. Bush and the status quo. Okay, let's do something different. Let's vote for Barack Obama. They were completely disappointed in Obama, or at the same point, they looked at Hillary Clinton and were like, no, I'm not going to go with that. That is the same old system. That is the same old establishment. I want something different. I want change. Let's go. Let's change, right? Now, Trump did offer change, but he offered change in a way that was disastrous change. Yes, change is change, but oh boy. So now, look, I also know that a lot of people voted for Trump because of racial anxiety. Let's not ignore that, right? But I'm not talking about those people. Those are not the people that Bernie Sanders reaches. He does not reach racist people, okay? People that are too worried about brown and black people, becoming a majority in the country. No, it's the people that are getting crushed by the status quo. And they wanted something different. That's who Bernie Sanders appeals to. Sanders offers hope of a different, better system. Sanders has proposed things that are really popular in the mainstream. Medicare for all polls at 70%. Free college also polls at 70%. Things like a higher $15 minimum wage, a living wage for all Americans. child care, all right, free child care. All these different great policies, environmental policies, the Green New Deal, he has signed on to that, and that has over 80% approval with the American public. So, come on, man. That's why people like Bernie Sanders. That's why people are volunteering for him. That's why people are donating to him, because they want these policies and they care about good policy. And so he's going to get those votes. And that's not something that Beto or Buttigieg can count on, but Bernie can. And because of that and the fundraising, you can see it all over. When these pundits on cable television are now saying, well, Bernie Sanders, it looks like he's the front runner, it's because the establishment has just been shook. And the establishment, of course, respects money and money only. But with Bernie Sanders raising so much money and polling so well, they're shook. And you know what? It's hard to dismiss him. It's hard for them to dismiss him this time. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.